भारत माता की। भारत माता की। भारत माता की। नमस्ते ट्रंप। नमस्ते ट्रंप। नमस्ते ट्रंप। मैं कहूंगा इंडिया यूएस फ्रेंडशिप, आप बोलेंगे लॉन्ग लिव, लॉन्ग लिव। इंडिया यूएसए फ्रेंडशिप। इंडिया यूएस फ्रेंडशिप। इंडिया यूएस फ्रेंडशिप। नमस्ते। आज मोटेरा स्टेडियम में एक नया इतिहास बन रहा है। आज हम इतिहास को दोहराते हुए भी देख रहे हैं। 5 महीने पहले मैंने अपनी अमेरिका यात्रा की शुरुआत ह्यूस्टन में हुए हाउडी मोदी कार्यक्रम से की थी और आज मेरे दोस्त प्रेसिडेंट डोनाल्ड ट्रंप अपनी ऐतिहासिक भारत यात्रा का आरंभ अहमदाबाद में नमस्ते ट्रंप से कर रहे हैं। आप कल्पना कर सकते हैं, वो अमेरिका से सीधे यहां पहुंचे हैं। इतनी लंबी जर्नी के बाद
as soon as he landed in India after such a long journey, President Trump and his family went straight to the Sabarmati ashram, and after that they have come here for this program. Welcome to all of you to the world's biggest democracy. We are gathered here in Gujarat, but the enthusiasm to welcome you is shared by all of India. This enthusiasm, these loud cheers that the skies resound with, this whole atmosphere, from the airport till the stadium, everywhere, colors and more colors, the varied colors of India's diversity. And in the midst of all this, the presence of President Trump, First Lady Melania Trump, Ivanka, and Jared. The presence of President Trump here with his family imparts a new sweetness and closeness of family ties to the relations between India and the United States. India-USA relations are no longer just another partnership. It is a far greater and closer relationship. The felicitation event is called Namaste Trump. Namaste also has a very deep meaning. It is a word from one of the world's oldest languages, Sanskrit. It signifies that we bow not just to the individual, but also to the divinity within the person. My grateful thanks to the people of Gujarat and to the people of other Indian states living in Gujarat for this grand event. Mr. President, friends, not far from where we stand today, thrived the planned city of Dholavira 5,000 years ago, and also where existed the seaport Lothal, which was almost as ancient. Today, you are on the banks of the Sabarmati River, which is of great significance in the story of India's independence. You are in an India that is full of diversity, where hundreds of languages are spoken, and where there are hundreds of kinds of attire, several kinds of cuisine, several religions and communities. This rich diversity of ours, unity in diversity, and the vibrancy of unity is a very strong foundation for the relations between India and America. One is the land of the free. The other believes that the whole world is but one family. One has pride in its Statue of Liberty. The other takes pride in the world's tallest statue, the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel Statue of Unity. There is so much that we share, shared values and ideals, a shared spirit of enterprise and innovation, shared opportunities and challenges, shared hopes and aspirations.
I'm very happy that under the leadership of President Trump, friendship between India and the United States has further deepened. And that is why, indeed, this visit by President Trump marks a new chapter in our relations, a chapter which will script a new era of progress and prosperity for the people of the United States and India. Friends, President Trump thinks big, and what he has done for realizing the American dream is well known. Today, we warmly welcome the Trump family. First Lady Melania Trump, your presence here is a great honor for us. Your efforts for a healthy and happy America are yielding good results. What you're doing for children in your society is praiseworthy. You often say, be best. And the best is what this reception by the people has strived to be. You would have felt it too. Ivanka, you visited India 2 years ago. You had told me then that you would like to visit India again. I'm very happy that you are with us today. You are very welcome. Jared, you are known to stay away from the limelight. Yet, what you do is very effective and has a far-reaching impact. Whenever we meet, you often mention your Indian friends. I'm very happy to meet you again and to see you here amongst us. Friends, today, along with every Indian and American, the entire world is keen to hear President Trump speak at this event. After his address, I will have the opportunity to say a few more words when I thank him. On behalf of 1.3 billion Indians, I invite President Trump to address us. Friends, I present to you my friend, India's friend, the President of the United States of America, Mr. Donald Trump. Please give him a round of applause. Namaste, Trump. Namaste, Trump.
Namaste. Namaste. And hello to India. This is such a great honor. Let me begin by expressing my profound gratitude to an exceptional leader, a great champion of India, a man who works night and day for his country, and a man I am proud to call my true friend, Prime Minister Modi. The First Lady and I have just traveled 8,000 miles around the globe to deliver a message to every citizen across this nation. America loves India, America respects India, and America will always be faithful and loyal friends to the Indian people. 5 months ago, the United States welcomed your great Prime Minister at a giant football stadium in Texas. And today, India welcomes us at the world's largest cricket stadium right here in Ahmedabad. It is a profound honor to be the beautiful new stadium, to be here with you. Motera Stadium, so beautiful, and joined by so many distinguished guests from all across your nation and all across the world. To the hundreds of thousands of everyday citizens who come out and line the streets in a stunning display of Indian culture and kindness, and to the 125,000 people in this great stadium today, thank you for the spectacular welcome to your magnificent country. You have done a great honor to the American people. Melania, my family, we will always remember this remarkable hospitality. We will remember it forever. From this day on, India will always hold a very special place in our hearts. The life of Prime Minister Modi underscores the limitless promise of this great nation. He started out by his father's side as a chiwala, a tea seller. When he was a young man, he worked at a cafeteria in this city. Stand up. Everybody loves him, but I will tell you this, he's very tough. Today, Prime Minister Modi is the tremendously successful leader of this vast Indian Republic. Last year, more than 600 million people went to the polls and gave him a landslide victory like no other in the largest democratic election ever held anywhere on the face of the earth. Prime Minister Modi, you are not just the pride of Gujarat. You are living proof that with hard work and devotion, Indians can accomplish anything, anything at all, anything they want. The Prime Minister has a moving story of an incredible rise, and so does this entire nation. Your nation is doing so well. We are very, very proud of India. The story of the Indian nation is a tale of astounding progress, a miracle of democracy, extraordinary diversity, and above all, a strong and noble people. India gives hope to all of humanity. In just 70 years, India has become an economic giant, the largest democracy ever to exist, and one of the most amazing nations anywhere in the world. Since the turn of the century, India's economy has grown more than 6 times in size. In a single decade, India has lifted over 270 million people out of poverty. Under Prime Minister Modi, for the first time in history, every village in India now has access to electricity. 320 million people, more Indians, are right now connected to the internet. The pace of highway construction has more than doubled. Over 70 million more households, think of this, 70 million more households have access to cooking fuel. 600 million more people have access to basic sanitation. And incredibly, 12 Indian citizens are lifted out of extreme poverty every single minute of every single day. India will soon be the home of the biggest middle class anywhere in the world, and within less than 10 years, extreme poverty in your country is projected to completely disappear. The potential for India is absolutely incredible. India's rise as a prosperous and independent nation is an example to every nation all over the world, and one of the most outstanding achievements of our century. It is all the more inspiring because you have done it as a democratic country. You have done it as a peaceful country. You have done it as a tolerant country. And you have done it as a great free country. There is all the difference in the world between a nation that seeks power through coercion, intimidation, and aggression, and a nation that rises by setting its people free and unleashing them to chase their dreams, and that is India. This is why India's accomplishment over the last 70 years is completely unrivaled no matter where you go. It is your faith in the strength of a free society, your confidence in your own people, your trust in your own citizens, and your respect for the dignity of every person that makes the United States and India such a natural, beautiful, enduring friendship. While our nations have many differences, they are both defined and propelled by a fundamental truth, the truth that all of us are blessed with divine light and every person is endowed with a sacred soul. As the great religious teacher Swami Vivekananda once said, The moment I stand in reverence before every human being and see God in him, that moment I am free. In America and in India, we know that we are all born for a higher purpose, to reach toward our fullest potential, to work toward excellence and perfection, and to give all glory to God. Powered by this spirit, Indians and Americans are always striving to be greater. Our people are always seeking to be better. And so our nations have become thriving centers of culture and commerce and civilization, giving light and vitality to all of the world. This is the country that produces nearly 2,000 movies a year from the hub of genius and creativity known as Bollywood. All over the planet, people take great joy in scenes of Bhangra, music, dance, romance, and drama, and classic Indian films like DDLJ and Showjay. This is the country where your people cheer on some of the world's greatest cricket players, from Sachin Tendulkar to Virat Kohli, the greatest in the world. This is the country that built the tallest statue on the face of the earth to honor the namesake of this stadium, the great Indian patriot and native of this state, Sardar Patel. India is the country where hundreds of millions of light candles to celebrate the triumph of good over evil at Diwali. And it's where, just days from now, Indians of all faiths will pour out onto the streets to celebrate the beautiful festival of Holi. India is a country that proudly embraces freedom, liberty, individual rights, the rule of law, and the dignity of every human being. Your nation has always been admired around the earth as the place where millions upon millions of Hindus and Muslims and Sikhs and Jains, Buddhists, Christians, and Jews worship side by side in harmony, where you speak more than 100 languages and come from more than 24 states, yet you have always stood strong as one great Indian nation. Your unity is an inspiration to the world. In America, we have come to know the splendor of Indian culture personally through the 4 million Indian Americans living in the United States as our wonderful friends, colleagues, and neighbors. They are truly spectacular people. Indian Americans enrich every aspect of our national life. They are titans of business, the biggest, the best, pioneers of science, masters of the art, and innovation of technology like few people have been able to see, no matter where you go, anywhere in this universe. Nearly 1 in 4 Indian Americans trace their roots right here in Gujarat. Gujarat is a special place. So on behalf of the entire American people, thank you, and thank you all for the contributions your culture and traditions have made to my beloved country. Americans are eager to strengthen these beautiful ties between our two people. This is truly an exciting time in the United States. Our economy is booming like never before. Our people are prospering and spirits are soaring. There is tremendous love, tremendous like. We like and we love everybody. Unemployment has hit historic lows, and small business confidence has hit an all-time record high in the history of our country. Our military has been completely rebuilt. It is now stronger than ever before, and we are quickly revitalizing our alliances and friendships all around the world. We have spent $2.5 trillion on rebuilding our military. It's the most powerful military anywhere in the world by far. That is why I have come here to India in the spirit of fondness and goodwill to expand our cherished partnership of incredible power and potential. The First Lady and I have just had a pleasure of visiting Mahatma Gandhi's ashram a few miles from here, where he launched the famous Salt March. And tomorrow in Delhi, we will lay a wreath, plant a tree at Rajghat in honor of this leader who is revered all around the world. And the First Lady and I look forward to visiting one of your country's most iconic landmarks. We are later today going to see the majestic Taj Mahal. The Prime Minister and I will also continue our important discussions about how to deepen the relationship between our two great countries. Both of us understand that when leaders put the interests of their own citizens first, we can forge strong and fair partnerships to build a safer and more prosperous world. Just months ago, this critical partnership took a major step forward when the U.S. military and your brave Indian Armed Forces conducted the first ever air, land, and sea military exercises between our two countries. It was something to behold. We called it Tiger Triumph. As we continue to build our defense cooperation, the United States looks forward to providing India with some of the best and most feared military equipment on the planet. We make the greatest weapons ever made: airplanes, missiles, rockets, ships. We make the best, and we're dealing now with India. But this includes advanced air defense systems and armed and unarmed aerial vehicles. And I am pleased to announce that tomorrow our representatives will sign deals to sell over $3 billion in the absolute finest state-of-the-art military helicopters and other equipment to the Indian Armed Forces. I believe that the United States should be India's premier defense partner, and that's the way it's working out. Together, we will defend our sovereignty, security, and protect a free and open Indo-Pacific region for our children and for many, many generations to come. The United States and India are also firmly united in our ironclad resolve to defend our citizens from the threat of radical Islamic terrorism. Both of our countries have been hurt by the pain and turmoil of terrorism and that terrorism brings. Under my administration, we unleashed the full power of the American military on bloodthirsty killers of ISIS in Iraq and in Syria. Today, the ISIS territorial caliphate has been 100% destroyed, and the monster known as al-Baghdadi, the founder and leader of ISIS, is dead. In the United States, we have also made clear that while our country will always welcome newcomers who share our values and love our people, our borders will always be closed to terrorists and terrorism and to any form of extremism. That is why we have taken historic steps to improve screening and vetting of applications for entry, and we are working to ensure that anyone who threatens the security of our citizens is denied admission and will pay a very, very big, costly price. Every nation has the right to secure and controlled borders. The United States and India are committed to working together to stop terrorists and to fight their ideology. For this reason, since taking office, my administration is working in a very positive way with Pakistan to crack down on the terrorist organizations and militants that operate on the Pakistani border. Our relationship with Pakistan is a very good one. Thanks to these efforts, we are beginning to see signs of big progress with Pakistan, and we are hopeful for reduced tensions, greater stability, and the future of harmony for all of the nations of South Asia. India has an important leadership role to play in shaping a better future as you take on greater responsibility for solving problems and promoting peace throughout this incredible region. Over the course of my visit, Prime Minister Modi and I will also discuss our efforts to expand the economic ties between our two countries. We will be making very, very major, among the biggest ever made, trade deals. We are in the early stages of discussion for an incredible trade agreement to reduce barriers of investment between the United States and India. And I am optimistic that working together, the Prime Minister and I can reach a fantastic deal that's good and even great for both of our countries. Except that he's a very tough negotiator. Since my inauguration, commerce between our two nations has increased by more than 40%. India is now a major market for American exports, and the United States is India's largest export market. A booming America is a great thing for India, and it's great for the world, and that's why we're so happy to announce that we have had the greatest economy ever in the history of the United States. In America, we have proven that the best way to attract jobs and opportunity is to reduce burdens on business, knock down barriers to new investment, and eliminate unnecessary bureaucracy, red tape, regulation, and taxes. Prime Minister Modi has already made significant reforms here in your country, as you very well know. The world looks forward to even more rapid improvement to India's business climate under his leadership. He wants to do it, and he's doing it at a record pace. 2 years ago, Prime Minister Modi warmly welcomed my daughter Ivanka to the Global Entrepreneurship Summit in Hyderabad, and she is back with us today. Ivanka, thank you. Thank you for being here. We are delighted to be joined as well by dozens of Indian women entrepreneurs who are helping to build your nation's future. They are great and natural entrepreneurs, and I just say to the men, be very careful. They're really good. The United States and India are also working closely together on the future of space exploration. You are making impressive strides with your exciting Chandrayaan lunar program. It is moving along rapidly, far ahead of schedule, and America looks forward to expanding our space cooperation with India. As you push even further, you are pushing the limits, and that's a great thing, including in the realm of human spaceflight. The United States and India will be friends and partners on our voyage into the stars and into space. It is truly extraordinary what this nation has achieved in the span of just one lifetime and what they have done under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi. It is absolutely incredible. Mr. Prime Minister, congratulations. You have come so far, but it is nothing compared to with how far India will go into the future, and the Prime Minister is laying the foundations for a future like few other countries can even think of. This nation is blessed with many treasures, from the sacred banks of the Ganges to the Golden Temple and the Jama Masjid. It is the home to some of the most cherished cultural heritage anywhere on earth. It is also the land of stunning vistas and astounding natural wonders, from the rugged peaks of the Himalayas to the splendid shores of Goa. And India has always been a wellspring of deep wisdom and great ideas, from the Vestas and the ancient epics all the way to the modern India nation. But standing before all of you today, I know that true strength of India is not found in its textbooks, its landmarks, or its landscapes. The true strength of India is found in 125,000 beating hearts in this stadium, and the millions and millions of people who have seen and witnessed our great friendship and admiration today. It is all found in the soul and the spirit of the Indian people. Your courage won and secured this nation's independence. Your devotion built this great and enduring democracy. And it is your dreams that will power this country to a future, even greater progress, prosperity, equality, and opportunity for every citizen across your land. So today I say to every Indian, North and South, Hindu and Muslim, Jewish and Christian, rich and poor, young and old, take pride in the glories of your past. Unite for an even brighter future, and let our two nations always stand together as powerful defenders of peace and liberty and the hope of a better world for all of humanity. Thank you again, Prime Minister Modi, for your hospitality, and thank you, India, for this phenomenal welcome. I want to just leave by saying, God bless India, God bless the United States of America. We love you, India, very much. Thank you. Thank you.
थैंक यू मिस्टर प्रेसिडेंट। आपने अभी जो भारत के बारे में कहा, महात्मा गांधी, स्वामी विवेकानंद और सरदार पटेल को श्रद्धापूर्वक याद किया। भारत के लोगों के सामर्थ्य, उपलब्धियां और संस्कृति के बारे में
Mahatma Gandhi and Sardar Patel, the way you spoke about the abilities, cultures and achievements of the people of India, and the kind words you used about me. President Trump has not only honored us, but also Indians living in the United States. Mr. President, this place from where you addressed Indians today is the biggest stadium in the world. Some of the sports facilities are still under construction. However, despite all that, your presence here today will motivate each and every person involved in the world of sport. I would also like to express my deep felt gratitude to the Gujarat Cricket Association for providing this spectacular venue. This may have affected their completion schedule, but I am sure that they will make up for it. Friends, the basis for a relationship between two individuals or two countries is trust, faith in each other. In India, it is often also said, Tan mitram yatra vishwas. In other words, friendship is where trust is unshakable. In the last few years, the way trust has grown and strengthened between India and the United States to reach new heights is truly historic. During my own visits to the United States, I saw this trust being reinforced every single day. I remember when I first met President Trump in Washington, he had said, India has a true friend in the White House. President Trump's special love for India has always been evident. As you also mentioned, when the Festival of Lights, Diwali, is celebrated in the White House, the 4 million Indians who live in the United States feel a sense of pride in being co-travelers in America's journey of prosperity and progress. Friends, like in the United States, there is unprecedented impatience for change in India. Today, 1.3 billion Indians are building a new India. Our youth has many aspirations. Setting ambitious goals and then achieving them is becoming the hallmark of New India today. Today, there is not just the world's largest cricket stadium in India. It also has the largest health assurance scheme in the world. Today, India is not just building the largest solar park of the world, it is also operating the largest sanitation program in the world. Today, India has set the world record of not just the largest number of satellites launched in one go, it has also set the world record in rapid financial inclusion. In the 21st century, whether it is infrastructure or the social sector, we are using global benchmarks to move forward. In the last few years, India has not just done away with 1,500 old laws, it has also passed many new ones to empower society, whether it is the rights of transgenders, respect for Muslim women by legislating against the triple talaq or instant divorce, giving priority to the differently abled, providing for 26 weeks of paid leave for pregnant women. Indeed, there are many such rights that we have ensured for different sections of society. Friends, I'm very happy that in this context of many positive changes in India, the US has become its trusted partner. Today, it is the United States that is India's largest trading partner. Today, it is with the United States that India is organizing the largest number of military exercises. Today, it is with the United States that India has the most extensive research and development partnership. Today, whether it is defense, the energy sector, health, IT, in every single field, our relationship has been continuously growing.
Friends, during this decade of the 21st century, New India also brings with it many new opportunities for resurgent America. both our countries can gain a lot in every area of development. The growth of manufacturing in India, the expansion of its infrastructure will create new opportunities for the United States. In this age of Industry 4.0, the expansion of India's digital economy will also create multiple opportunities for investment for the United States. Mr. President, in the last few decades, digital technologies have played an important role in shaping the relations between India and the United States. Indian talent and American technology have given a new leadership to this sector. And I believe that in the 21st century, India and the United States can together provide leadership to this digital age, to Industry 4.0. Friends, in the 21st century, new alignments, new competition, new challenges, and new opportunities are laying the foundation for change. At such a time, the relations and cooperation between India and the United States will play a very important role in determining the direction the world takes in the 21st century. I believe very strongly that India and the United States are natural partners. We can make an effective contribution to peace, progress, and security, not just in the Indo-Pacific region, but in the entire world. The commitment of America and the leadership of President Trump in defeating terrorism has rendered yeoman service to the entire humanity. And therefore, I believe that the visit of a distinguished leader and close friend of India like President Trump to India in the beginning of this decade itself represents a great opportunity. The initiatives that we have taken in recent times for strengthening India-US relations will now, with this visit, enter their next phase. We are inspired by a long-term vision, not just by short-term considerations. Our bilateral relations will grow, our economic partnership will grow, our digital cooperation will grow, and I am confident that our trade and investment will grow, reaching new heights. The India and America together, we can fulfill our dreams. It is a great good fortune for me that President Trump and his entire family are here, and I've had the opportunity to welcome them once again by saying Namaste Trump. I would like to say once again, long live Mother India. Long live Mother India. India-US friendship. Long live India-US friendship. India-US friendship. Thank you very much. My friend and President of the United States, Donald Trump, respected members of the American delegation, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Once again, a very warm welcome to President Trump and his delegation in India. I am especially really happy that he has brought his family with him on this visit. In the last 8 months, this is the 5th meeting between President Trump and myself. Yesterday, the unprecedented and historic welcome for President Trump yesterday in Motera will always be remembered. Yesterday, it became clear once again that the relations between the United States and India are not just limited to the relations between two governments. They are people-driven and they are people-centric. This relationship is the most important partnership of the 21st century, and therefore, today, President Trump and I have taken a decision to raise our partnership to the level of a comprehensive global strategic partnership. President Trump's contribution in raising our relations to this level have been invaluable. Friends, during our discussions today, we had a productive exchange on every important aspect of our partnership, whether it is defense and security, a strategic energy partnership, technology cooperation, global connectivity, trade relations, or people-to-people ties. The increasing defense and security cooperation between India and the United States is a very important aspect of our strategic partnership. Cooperation in ultra-modern defense equipment and platforms will enhance India's defense capabilities. Our defense manufacturers are becoming a part of each other's supply chains. Indian forces are today doing the maximum training exercises with US forces. In the last few years, there has been an unprecedented increase in interoperability between our armies. Friends, in the same way, we are also increasing our cooperation in the area of homeland security and in fighting international crime. Today, the decision taken on homeland security will further strengthen this cooperation. We have also taken a decision today to further increase our efforts in order to hold supporters of terrorism responsible. President Trump has given priority to the fight against the drugs and opioid crisis. Today, we have also agreed on a new mechanism to fight serious problems such as drug trafficking, narco-terrorism, and organized crime.
Friends, the recently established strategic energy partnership has become even stronger, and in this area, our mutual investment has grown. The US has indeed become a very important oil and gas source for India. Over the last 4 years, our total energy trade volume is above $20 billion. Whether it is renewable energy or nuclear energy, indeed our cooperation finds itself instilled with new energy. Friends, similarly, in the area of new emerging technologies, India and US partnership has attained new levels in terms of innovation and enterprise in the fields of Industry 4.0 and of the new technologies of the 21st century. The talent of Indian professionals has reinforced US's companies' technological leadership. Friends, India and the United States are committed to openness and fair and balanced trade in the economic sector. Over the last 3 years, our bilateral trade has witnessed double-digit growth, and it has also become more balanced. Whether it is energy, civil aircraft, defense, or higher education, over the last 4 or 5 years, just these 4 sectors has contributed $70 billion to the relationship between India and the US. A lot of this is due to the policies and the willingness of President Trump. And I'm fully confident that in the years to come, this will further grow. As far as bilateral trade is concerned, our commerce ministers have had very positive discussions. President Trump and I, we have both agreed that the understanding reached by our commerce ministers will take it forward to give it a legal shape. We have also agreed to initiate negotiations for a bigger deal. We are confident that this will yield good results that will be in our mutual interest. Friends, cooperation between India and the US at the global level is founded on our common democratic values and objectives, especially in the Indo-Pacific region and other global commons. Both of our countries agree on the importance of sustainable and transparent financing in the development of connectivity infrastructure across the world. This mutual understanding and synergy between us is in the interest of not just our countries, but also in the interest of the world at large. Friends, indeed, the cornerstone of this special friendship between India and the United States is our people-to-people relations, whether it is as professionals or students. The Indian diaspora in the US has contributed the most to furthering these relations. These ambassadors of India are not only contributing to the US economy with their talent and hard work, they are also enriching the American society with their democratic values and rich culture. I have requested President Trump that the contribution of our professionals in terms of Social Security should be discussed further within the framework of a totalization agreement. This will be of mutual interest to both of us. President Trump's visit has played a historic role in strengthening our relationship in all its dimensions. Once again, I wish to express my heartfelt thanks to President Trump for coming to India and for taking Indo-US relations to new heights. Thank you.
Hello.
Well, thank you very much. And Prime Minister Modi, this has been a very special visit, unforgettable, extraordinary. What can you say? Very, very wonderful to be with you. Thank you very much. And Melania and I have been awed by the majesty of India and the exceptional kindness and generosity of the Indian people. We'll always remember the magnificent welcome the citizens of your home state showed us upon arrival. It was a profound expression of strength and of real love. Really, it was love. And I think everybody saw that, everybody witnessed that for themselves. The First Lady and I also reflected on the memory of Mahatma Gandhi at his ashram, and this morning in Delhi, we laid a wreath in his honor. We visited one of your nation's most stunning cultural treasures, the world-famous Taj Mahal, and we look forward to continuing our visit tonight during a wonderful state banquet with President Kovind at the Presidential Palace. I know Prime Minister Modi will agree that this has been a very productive visit for both of our countries. Earlier today, we expanded our defense cooperation with agreements for India to purchase more than $3 billion of advanced American military equipment, including Apache and MH-60 Romeo helicopters, the finest in the world. These deals will enhance our joint defense capabilities as our militaries continue to train and operate side by side. In our discussions, Prime Minister Modi and I affirmed our two countries' commitment to protecting our citizens from radical Islamic terrorism. In this effort, the United States is also working productively with Pakistan to confront terrorists who operate on its soil. Together, the Prime Minister and I are revitalizing the Quad initiative with the United States, India, Australia, and Japan. Since I took office, we have held the first Quad ministerial meeting. I guess you would call it a meeting, but it seems like so much more than that, an expanded cooperation on counterterrorism, cybersecurity, and maritime security to ensure a free and open Indo-Pacific. As we deepen our partnership with India, we remember that our two countries have always been united by shared traditions of democracy and constitutions that protect freedom, individual rights, and the rule of law. During our visit, we discussed the importance of a secure 5G wireless network and the need for this emerging technology to be a tool for freedom, progress, prosperity, not to do anything where it could be even conceived as a conduit for suppression and censorship. To guarantee that the infrastructure of the future is built in a safe, transparent, and accountable manner, the United States is working with a range of partners, including Australia and Japan, to create the Blue Dot Network, a major initiative to ensure countries around the world to have access to private sector-led, sustainable, and trustworthy options for high-quality infrastructure development, and that's what's happening. Another major focus of my discussions with Prime Minister Modi is forging bilateral economic relationships that is fair and reciprocal. Our teams have made tremendous progress on a comprehensive trade agreement, and I'm optimistic we can reach a deal that will be of great importance to both countries. Since I took office, U.S. exports to India are up nearly 60%, and exports of high-quality American energy have grown by, thank you very much, 500%. That's great. As India grows, so do its energy needs. Yesterday, ExxonMobil signed a deal to improve India's natural gas distribution network so that the U.S. can export even more LNG to India. We are pleased to be joined by the chairman of ExxonMobil LNG Market Development, Alex Volkov. Thank you, Alex, wherever you may be. Where is Alex? Is here someplace? Alex, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Alex. And the CEO of Chart Energy and Chemicals, Jillian Ivanko. Thank you very much. Thank you both. Thank you, Jillian. Thank you very much. That's a big deal, Alex, right? Can you handle it? I think so, right? It's great. To further strengthen our economic ties, the United States is pleased to announce that the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation will be establishing a permanent presence right here. America is especially committed to working with India to improve development and empower women entrepreneurs. That is why my daughter Ivanka attended the Global Entrepreneurship Summit in Hyderabad to highlight women's economic empowerment. Ivanka, please, great job you've done. Thank you very much. Thank you. We have since launched the WGDP initiative, which is now spearheading projects supporting women in the economy from New Delhi to Kolkata. In our meetings with the Prime Minister, we discussed and agreed to create a counter-narcotics working group to confront the growing threat of illicit fentanyl and opioid production. We must rid our societies of these lethal, horrible poisons. We will rid our societies of these bad drugs that are pouring in. Prime Minister Modi, we have made tremendous advances for our people over the past 2 days, and working together, I know that our two nations will continue to achieve new breakthroughs, unlock new potential, and forge even brighter futures in the years ahead. We think we're at a point where our relationship is so special with India. It has never been as good as it is right now, and I think that's because the two leaders of each country, really, we feel very strongly about each other, and we have done something that's very unique, and we've made some wonderful deals for each of our countries. Once again, we want to thank you and the entire nation of India for honoring the United States with its outstanding welcome, and I'm pleased to say that the U.S. Indian partnership is now truly stronger than ever before. This was a great visit with a tremendous friend and a tremendous leader, Prime Minister Modi. We won't be taking questions now. I'll be having a news conference at 5 o'clock, and we'll take plenty of questions. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. This concludes the press event. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you very much, please. So we had a couple of really great days in India. Prime Minister Modi is a terrific man. He's a terrific leader. And we have a lot of things going in terms of product being purchased by India. We just had a meeting. A lot of the press was there. I thought it was a great meeting with some of the biggest businessmen in the world. They come from India. They're agreeing to invest billions and billions of dollars. You heard it for yourself. They're going to be investing billions of dollars in our country, so that was the purpose of the trip also. We're all set for $3 billion worth of helicopters, the Apaches and various other types, in addition to other equipment. They're buying that. And they're buying a lot. They're going to be buying a lot, and they're also going to be buying a lot of our energy, all forms of our energy, because they need energy, and we have more than anybody. We're #1 in the world now in energy. So that's going to be very exciting. But I thought it was a great 2 days. It was a fantastic 2 days. I'm going to be not at all controversial because I don't want to blow the 2 days plus 2 days of travel on one answer. One little answer like John will ask me one little simple question, and you'll blow it out, and that'll be the end of the trip. They won't even talk about the trips. I'll be very, very conservative in my answers, if you don't mind. But we did. We had a great time. We had great meetings, and we're going for a state dinner, and then after that we get back onto the plane and we go back home. It's going to be about 19 hours, but we look forward to it. Get in tomorrow. But this is a tremendous country. It's 1.4 billion, probably at least the most people, and it's a tremendous market, and they really like us, and I think they like us more now than they've ever liked us, frankly. We have a really great relationship between the Prime Minister and myself. So we're going to be doing a lot of things. I think it was really, really worth it. You may ask about the coronavirus, which is very well under control in our country. We have very few people with it, and the people that have it are, in all cases, I have not heard anything other. Maybe there's something new, because for 2 days I haven't been seeing too much of that news, of very much news, because it's been very all-encompassing. We've accomplished a lot here. We had a lot of meetings, as you know. But the people are getting better. They're all getting better. We brought in some Americans from a ship because it was really the right thing to do, and they're in quarantine. And we think they'll be in very good shape very, very soon. We discussed a lot of different elements. We actually discussed the coronavirus, and at this moment, India doesn't have much of a problem, they feel. It wasn't expressed that they did, which is great. And I think that whole situation will start working out. A lot of talent, a lot of brain power is being put behind it. $2.5 billion we're putting in. I see that Chuck Schumer criticized that he thought it should be more. And if I gave more, he'd say it should be less. It's automatic, with these characters. They're just not good for our country. If I gave more, he'd say it should be less. But that's what they do. In the meantime, that's all they can do. They're not getting anything done. We have so many things we could get done. We could so easily do prescription drug. Last year was the first year in 51 years where prescription drug prices went down. But we could drive them down really well if we had the Democrat votes. We need some additional votes. We would really drive them down, as you know. So with that, I think what we'll do is take some questions, and we'll go to a nice state dinner, and then we go home. Yeah, John, go ahead.
Mr. President, you just addressed coronavirus, so I will put that aside for the moment. You tweeted about Justice Sotomayor yesterday, saying that she and Justice Ginsburg should recuse themselves from future cases dealing with the administration. What is the basis for your opinion on that?
Well, it's very obvious. I always thought that, frankly, that Justice Ginsburg should do it because she went wild during the campaign when I was running. I don't know who she was for. Perhaps she was for Hillary Clinton, if you can believe it. But she said some things that were obviously very inappropriate. She later sort of apologized. I wouldn't say it was an apology, but she sort of apologized. And then Justice Sotomayor said what she said yesterday. You know very well what she said yesterday. It was a big story. And I just don't know how they can not recuse themselves for anything having to do with Trump or Trump-related. The right thing to do is that. Now, as a Supreme Court justice is a different standard, but at the same time, I think it's a higher standard in a certain sense. So they'll have to decide what to do. But her statement was so inappropriate when you're a justice of the Supreme Court, and it's almost what she's trying to do is take the people that do feel a different way and get them to vote the way that she would like them to vote. I just thought it was so inappropriate. Such a terrible statement for a Supreme Court justice.
What was inappropriate about the statement? I'm not an attorney, so I can't really look
Well, you
into
know what the
these.
statement
But
was, John. It
well,
was-
she seemed to criticize the White House for running to the Supreme Court at the drop of a hat to seek a stay.
No, I don't think that was it. But I think what she did say is she's trying to shame, the way I look at it, she's trying to shame people with perhaps a different view into voting her way. And that's so inappropriate. So let's see what happens. We have things, whether or not they recuse themselves, both. I mean, look, Justice Ginsburg, during my campaign, you know, I protested at the time. She apologized in a very minor form. And what Justice Sotomayor said yesterday was really highly inappropriate, and everybody agrees to that. Virtually everybody. I've seen papers on it. People cannot believe that she said it. Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. The intelligence community believes that Russia is trying to meddle in the 2020 election. Do you agree with their assessment? And what is your message to Vladimir Putin about potentially interfering regardless of the candidate they support?
Well, you know, what I'm reading, and again, I'm over here for the last number of days, but they went to see Bernie, and they told Bernie about something having to do with they want Bernie to win. They did not tell me. Intelligence never told me, and we have a couple of people here that would know very well. They never told me anything about that, and it was sort of a strange thing that they went to Bernie. And now I find out, if I believe what I read in some of your documents and some of your papers, that it was highly exaggerated. And frankly, I think it's disgraceful. And I think it was leaks from the Intelligence Committee, House version, and I think that they leaked it. I think probably Schiff leaked it, but people within that, Schiff leaked it, in my opinion. And he shouldn't be leaking things like that. That's a terrible thing to do. But basically, they would like to see Bernie is probably winning, and looks like he's winning, and he's got a head of steam, and they maybe don't want him for obvious reasons. So they don't want him, so they put out a thing that Russia's backing him. This is what they do. I've gone through it for a long time. I get it. I get the game better than anybody. And that's the way it is. Terrible thing to say. And they didn't say it about me. I will say this. Somebody leaked it in intelligence, but nobody ever told me that. We have Ambassador O'Brien in the audience someplace, and he can tell you that this was never discussed with us. So I think it's terrible. They ought to stop the leaking from Intelligence Committee. And if they don't stop it, I can't imagine that people are not going to go after them and find out what's happening. Yeah, please.
But do you believe...
Go ahead, ma'am.
Mr. President, this is Madhu Bhatia Jha from Indian TV News, ABP
Yes.
News. And you're trying to get...
मैं टीवी एजेंसी से हूं और
in Afghanistan. So the way the deal is being worked out, what would be India's role and Pakistan's role in the region?
Well, I think India would like to see it happen. I spoke with Prime Minister Modi today, and I think they would very much like to see it happen. And we're pretty close. We'll see what's going on. We've got 2 days now under our belt without violence, or I guess a minimum of violence. And we'll see what happens, but people want to see it. It's very interesting, that one is, everybody's happy about it. Even people that are normally against me, like 99.9% of the time. Because we've been there for 19 years, and everybody would like to see it happen. I was actually surprised. I thought the Schumers of the world would say whatever the opposite is, you know, because that's all they can do, cry and chuck. But people are they're really happy to see that we're trying very hard. You know, we'd bring it down to 8,600, and from there we'll make a decision as to what the final outcome would be. But there's been tremendous praise for the fact that we're doing something. You know, other administrations have tried to do something. In particular, the previous administration, for a long time, they were never able to get anything done. And we're really serving not as a military force as we are a police force. And we're not a police force. They have to police their own country. We're not a police force. It's like law enforcement. And that's the way it is. So we'd like to, after 19, I can tell you, after 19 years, we'd like to bring our young people back home, bring them, that's where they want to be. And we'll always have intelligence there. We'll have other things there. But we'd like to bring them, for the most part, we'd like to bring them back home. We want to watch the area. The area is a hotbed of problems. And when we bring them home, we'll let them know that if something happens, we will hit them so hard. And we could win that easily if I wanted to kill millions of people. I don't want to kill millions of people, innocent people. We could win that very easily. We don't have to act as a police force. We could act as a military force to win, not a military force to just take care of things in that very, very difficult part of the world. It's a very difficult part, very dangerous part of the world. So let's see what happens. So far, so good. So far. But I'm very impressed with the kind of kudos we're getting. Yes, please.
Mr. President, namaste. I'm Saurabh Shukla. I'm editor-in-chief of News Mobile. If you remember, I interviewed you during your last campaign in New Jersey. And I asked you this question earlier at that time about a Trump doctrine on fighting out Islamic fundamentalism, which you spoke about and you discussed with Prime Minister Modi. And you spoke about a Modi-Trump doctrine. So what is your roadmap to fight out Islamic radical terrorism?
Well, I don't think anybody's done more than I have, if you look, because I came in, and if you check your maps and look at Iraq and Syria, it was all over. In fact, they had it painted a certain color. I won't tell you what color because it doesn't matter. Somebody will say it was a Republican color, so I don't want to get people confused. But it happened to be red, and it was basically trying to show where ISIS was in those areas. And it was out of control. And I gave the orders, and we have 100% of the caliphate. We have tens of thousands of people in prisons now. They're being guarded by the Kurds and others. Europe should take a lot of them back. So far, they haven't agreed to do that. They should do that because we did them a big favor. We captured them, but I did that. We killed al-Baghdadi a few months ago, and Soleimani is gone. He's no longer putting roadside bombs all over the place. Somebody else may be, but he was the father, the king of the roadside bomb. All of those young people that you see with missing legs and arms. I've seen every combination. The legs are gone. You go over to Walter Reed. I have to say the doctors at Walter Reed are incredible what they're able to do. Incredible. But that's what his thing was. He thought that was a beautiful weapon, roadside bombs. It's a coward's bomb. And all of these young people that have been so badly hurt, and we did a big favor. In addition to that, as you know, Hamza bin Laden is now gone, and he was looking to do damage, and he's gone. And Al-Qaeda last week, you saw what happened there.
Absolutely.
So nobody's done more than what I've done. And but at the same time, Russia should do it, Iran should do it, Iraq should do it, Syria should do it. You know, we're in a different part of the world. We're doing it. Everybody says you're the only ones that can do it. Well, at some point, these other countries, I mean, Iran should do it. Iran hates ISIS, and they should do it. And we've done a great job. We've taken our soldiers essentially out of Syria, except for little hot spots that we forget, you know, will do, that develop. But we've taken the oil, and the soldiers we have there are the ones guarding the oil. We have the oil. So that's all we have there. And now we have, if you look, we are down to a small force in Iraq. And we're down to a small force very shortly, but right now even we have a small force in Afghanistan. And so we're moving out and moving around, but the only soldiers we have in terms of Syria, the predominant number of soldiers are the ones guarding the oil.
What about terror groups in Pakistan, sir? That's a big concern in this region, and you know there are a lot of terror groups who pose dangers to the United States and democracies like India as well, sir.
No, I agree, but you also have other countries that can do this, you know. The United States is 8,000 miles away, and they're all saying, could you do it? Yeah, we could do it. We've been doing it for a long time, but I've been doing it much better than anyone else has done it. I mean, what we've done in the last couple of years has been incredible. We have 100% of the caliphate. Remember, we had 99%. I'd say, good, we're leaving. And I was hit with, people couldn't believe it. They said, do 100. So we did 100. I did 100 with some great generals that knew exactly what they were doing. They were unbelievable. We took 100% of the caliphate. And we have thousands of prisoners right now locked up. And these are ISIS fighters and killed thousands. Not that I want to do that. I don't want to do that. But that's what we had to do. And when I came in, ISIS was all over the place. It was totally out of control. Please. Thank you.
While you've been here in the country, in the capital, northeast part of Delhi, there have been violent clashes. Police have been killed, some demonstrators, 9 deaths so far, we hear, and about 100 plus injured. What did Prime Minister Modi say to you about this amended citizenship law? And how concerned are you about this kind of religious violence in India?
So we did talk about religious freedom, and I will say that the Prime Minister was incredible on what he told me. He wants people to have religious freedom, and very strongly. And he said that in India they have worked very hard to have great and open religious freedom. And if you look back and look at what's going on relative to other places especially, but they have really worked hard on religious freedom. I asked that question in front of a very large group of people today, and he talked about it. We talked about it for a long time, and I really believe that's what he wants. As far as the individual attack, I heard about it, but I didn't discuss that with him. That's up to India. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Hi, sir. Emily Gooden with the DailyMail.com. I was wondering, do you think justice was served in the Harvey Weinstein case?
So I was never a fan of Harvey Weinstein, as you know. In fact, he said he was going to work hard to defeat me in the election. How did that work out, by the way? I'm trying to figure that out. He was a person I didn't like, never liked. I don't know too much about the case because, as you know, I've been over here between traveling and being at meetings almost every hour of the day, every minute of the day. I haven't been able to really see too much of it. But I was just not a fan of his. I knew him a little bit, not very well. I knew him because he was in New York. Not a person that I like. I will say the people that liked him were the Democrats. Michelle Obama loved him. Hillary Clinton loved him. And he gave tremendous money to the Democrats. And I guess my question is, will the Democrats be asking for that money back? Because he gave a lot of money to the Democrats. And, you know, it's too bad, but that's the way it worked out. Yeah, Peter?
I just want to follow up on that very quickly, if I can, Mr. President. Then I have a question that I wanted to ask you. But just on the Harvey Weinstein situation, this is being viewed as a milestone for the Me Too movement. What message can you, as president, deliver to women in America who are still afraid to come forward and share their stories of sexual harassment and assault?
Well, again, I don't know the actual results. I haven't seen too much because I've been in India, as you know.
Aside from this case, just broadly.
I think that from the standpoint of women, I think it was a great thing. It was a great victory, and sends a very strong message. Very, very strong message, Peter. Yeah, please.
Can I follow up with my question? I just wanted to follow up on hers quickly. Can I, on coronavirus specifically, Mr. President, in 2014, when the Ebola situation was very concerning to so many Americans, you tweeted, "Ebola patient will be brought to the U.S. in a few days. Now I know for sure that our leaders are incompetent." In all caps, you wrote, "Keep them out of here." More than 20 Americans have now been brought back to the United States with coronavirus. By your own measure, does that mean that your government has been incompetent? Are you pleased with the response?
There's a big difference, in case you don't know, between Ebola and coronavirus. Big, big difference. It's like day and night. And I felt that we should bring them back. They're Americans. We should bring them back. With Ebola, it's very explosive. It's very terrible. We're making tremendous strides on Ebola with the things that we're doing, as you know.
Isn't some of the money that you're requesting? Sorry, please.
Let me answer the question. But there's a vast difference in bringing, especially in around 14, was that 14 or 12, And at that time, nobody had ever even heard of Ebola or ever conceived of something where you basically, people would disintegrate. And we're still working on Ebola.
To be clear, all those brought here survived, though, right? Sorry.
Yeah, we're doing a vaccine. We're doing a lot of things having to do with Ebola. We're not forgetting about Ebola. That's a horrible thing. But we have that now very much under control, other than certain parts of the Congo where they're having war and we can't get in. So we're still working on that. But as far as what we're doing with the new virus, I think that we're doing a great job. I felt that, and the decision was made in Japan, let these Americans come back and we'll see where they are, but they were immediately put into quarantine. There's no problem with it whatsoever. They're all in quarantine. And as you know, I approved $2.5 billion for just that purpose, and also for working and getting a vaccine.
For clarity, those with Ebola, when they were brought here, were quarantined, and all of the Americans also survived, right?
But the level of death with Ebola, at the time it was a virtual 100%.
But none of the Americans who came here.
There's a very good chance you're not going to die. It's just it's very much the opposite. You're talking about 1 or 2%, whereas in the other case it was a virtual 100%. Now they have it. They have studied it. They know very much. In fact, we're very close to a vaccine. Yeah, please, go ahead. Go ahead, Peter. Oh, all right.
Hi, I'm Swati Chandrasekhar from TV5 Network.
Thank you.
So how do you define, differentiate, and deal with the love of yours for Indians in India and Indians' love for H-1B visa in America? So how do you differentiate this?
Yeah, we're talking about the H-1Bs, and we are, look, the relationship we have, this is not from me, this is from almost everybody that saw it. They say in the history of India, which has a long history and a brilliant history in so many different ways, there's never been a reception given to somebody like was given, and I would like to say for the United States of America, but nobody else that came here got the kind of reception we got. It was 125,000, I think, seats they had yesterday. They were full. You had thousands and thousands of people outside. Prime Minister Modi was telling me thousands of people outside. That's not uncommon for me, to be honest with you, but when I look at 125,000 seats, and that was an incredible scene yesterday. In addition, all of those people lined up from the airport to the event. It was an incredible thing. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. The ambassador just told me that he's been in India for a long time. He's never seen, in fact, both ambassadors, our ambassador and the ambassador from India, said in 40 years he's never seen anything like it, what took place yesterday and, earlier than that. But yesterday, they've never seen anything like it. So it was a great compliment. It was a great compliment to our country. I'm the leader of the country, but it was a great compliment to our country. But Prime Minister Modi said today they've never, ever had any event like that. In fact, they said usually when somebody comes in, they have to look for people to fill up the areas. They said there was something very special. Look, it's a massive country in terms of its population, and people just wanted to pay their respect to the United States, and so I appreciate it. I was a recipient in a sense, but I was just really representing the country. Yeah, Peter, go ahead.
Thank you. Sorry, thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate it.
Go ahead.
Mr. President, your newly installed personnel director has begun talking with agencies about finding people in the government that are not loyal to you and perhaps moving them on. How large a list do you imagine this will be? Is this a big problem in your mind? Can you describe for us the scale of the problem as you see it?
Yeah, I don't think it's a big problem. I don't think it's very many people. I think we had a whistleblower who was a fake, because if you look at the whistleblower as an example, if you look at his report and then you compare that to the transcripts, it bore no relationship. So that was a very sad situation, and a lot of time wasted. Although, as you will admit, in fact, you wrote very nicely, I appreciate it, the poll numbers have gone up very much, but that's not appropriate to have to benefit by something like that. Then there was supposed to be a second whistleblower. As soon as I released the transcripts, the second whistleblower was gone. Nobody ever heard, what happened to the second whistleblower? I'll ask you, where is he? Remember, he or she, the second whistleblower was going to happen. It was just a matter of moments. And then I released the real call, the transcripts, which are now 100% accurate, even according to Lieutenant Colonel Vindman. So, no, we want to have people that are good for the country, are loyal to our country, because that was a disgraceful situation. Please.
Mr. President, I am Akhilesh Suman. I am from Rajya Sabha Television. It's a parliamentary channel of India, upper house, like you've seen it.
Good.
India's concern is with neighborhood. And you and Prime Minister Modi tell that you are very good friends. What is your strategy about terrorism that is coming out from Pakistan to India? Because we had been suffering from this type of terrorism for last 20 years or so. What is your strategy? What are you going to do?
We talked a lot about Pakistan. I have a very good relationship with Prime Minister Khan, very good. We talked about it today at length, actually, and Prime Minister Modi. And it's no question it's a problem, but it's a problem they're working on it. India is, it's a brave nation too. There's no pullback from India. And we just hope, and I said I'll help, I'll do whatever I have to do if I can do that, because my relationship with both gentlemen is so good. But there has been difficulty in Pakistan, and we're seeing what we can do about it. Anything I can do to mediate, anything I can do to help, I would do. They're working on Kashmir. Kashmir has been a thorn in a lot of people's sides for a long time. And there are two sides to every story, but they've been working on that very hard. We discussed it at great length, terrorism, and I think we have some very good ideas. He's very, very strongly against terrorism. I'll tell you, Prime Minister Modi is a very religious man, as you know. He's a very calm man, but he's actually a very, very strong person, very tough, actually. When I've seen him in action, and he's got that foremost in his mind, terrorism. He'll take care of it. Please. Go ahead. You, right here. That's fine. Right there.
Mr. President, thank you. The backbenchers have been waiting for far too long. I'm Richa from Business Line, and we would like to take you to your today's meetings. Before coming to India, you said trade deal will be later, but of course sometime soon. In the morning, you spoke about energy security and energy deal, and you are already the 5th supplier to our country. You said other sources also. We would like you to elaborate on that. When we are talking energy security and energy deal, what are we looking at? Yeah. And is nuclear happening?
So we talked about many things, many things. We talked about Iran, we talked about Iraq, we talked about, we were together for 2 days. I'm going to be with Prime Minister Modi tonight for a state dinner at 7 o'clock. It starts at 7, I believe. And we talked about exactly all of the things that you're talking about. We also talked about tariffs, because as you know, India is probably the highest tariff nation in the world, meaning charging tariffs to outsiders. And I said, we have to stop that. We have to stop it, at least as it pertains to the United States. And I think we're understanding each other. With China, we worked a deal, and we worked it because of the tariffs. And I was able to leave the tariffs on. That will take care of phase 2. We still have 25% on $250 billion. But in the meantime, we're working with China very much on the virus. We feel that's something. And I have to tell, I spoke to President Xi the other day. He is so committed to solving that problem. He is working very hard. He is very capable. The country is very capable. And it snuck up on him, but I think he's going to do well. Now you see it's going to South Korea, it's going to Italy, and it's going to other places. But I spoke to all of them. They're all working very, very hard on it. The United States, because of an early decision I made a decision. I believe it was the first time it's ever been done. We closed the country to certain areas, as you know. And I was criticized for that decision. Now they're saying it was a good decision. I think it was a good decision because we have very few people. And you can add to it a few people that we took in because they were Americans. I mean, what are we going to do? And they were almost in between countries where people weren't going to take them, and they're Americans. But they're fully quarantined. They call it fully quarantined. So, you know, we did the right thing. If you were out there, if you were an American and you refused to have any help from your country, these were wonderful people. It wasn't their fault. So, but we're really down to probably 10. Most of the people are outside of danger right now. But we've had a very strict line on the people that would take in the areas from which we take. And I did it very early. It's never done before, and I did it early. So I think it was a good decision as it turned out. Yeah, please.
Just wanted to follow up on my colleague's question about Russian interference. Can you pledge to the American people that you will not accept any foreign assistance in the upcoming election? And on this idea of a purge in your administration, there was recently the departure of your acting DNI, Joseph Maguire. You replaced him with your ambassador to Germany, Rick Grenell. Some of your critics have pointed out that Ambassador Grenell has no intelligence experience. How can you justify to the American people having an acting DNI with no intelligence experience?
Okay, first of all, I want no help from any country, and I haven't been given help from any country. And if you see what CNN, your wonderful network, said, I guess they apologized in a way for, didn't they apologize for the fact that they said certain things that weren't true? Tell me, what was their apology yesterday? What did they say?
Mr. President, I think our record on delivering the truth is a lot better than yours sometimes, if you don't mind me saying.
Let me tell you about your record. Your record is so bad you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You have probably
I'm
the
not
worst
ashamed
record,
of anything, and our
you probably have the
organization
worst
is not
record in the
ashamed,
history
sir.
of broadcasting. As far as Maguire is concerned, he's a terrific guy, but you know, on March 11th, his time ended anyway, so his time came up, so we would have had to, by statute, we would have had to change him anyway, so the
Will your
time
new
was there.
DNI have experience
I
in
think,
the intelligence
yes,
field?
Yes, in fact, we're talking to 5 different people right now. I think all people that you know, all people that you respect, and I'll make a decision probably over the next week to 2 weeks. We have some very good people. But Joe Maguire is a very excellent guy. He's a very good man. And his time was March 11th. I believe it was March 11th where he would have had to leave.
Was he
But we
forced
are
out
going
because he
to-
wasn't sufficiently loyal to you?
No, not at all. Not at all. He was pushed out because, frankly, wasn't pushed out. He would have had to get out. On March 11th, he would have had to leave. But we're going to be making a decision on DNI very shortly.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, please. Go ahead, please. Yeah.
Mr. President.
Well, that's not nice. Yeah, let
let's
her
go.
do it.
Let's go one
I
by
know,
one.
but you ripped the mic out of her hand. You can't do that.
So rude.
Well, that wasn't very nice. He's...
President Trump, I hope you're having a good visit here in India. I'm Ruchi Bhatia from ET Now. We have heard from Prime Minister Modi as well as you on a long impending trade deal. It's still not happened. Even today we heard both you and him talking about how in future there is going to be one. Have you been able to figure out the kind of differences that were there
Yeah,
earlier,
we know the
especially on data localization? That has been one of the sticky points.
Sure. We know the problems. I know the problems. Previous administrations had no clue. They didn't know the problems. I know the problems. We're being charged large amounts of tariffs, and can't do that. Can't do that. And so they understand that that's where I am, and if they want to deal with us, and they will, they're going to, just like China. Everybody said you'll never make a deal with China. I made a deal with China. It's a great deal. They're going to buy $250 billion worth of product, and that's only a piece of the deal. It's a large piece. It's probably 40 to 50%, but it's an incredible deal. In addition to that, we're taking in billions and billions of dollars worth of tariffs that we can now use for phase 2, because they want to get rid of the 25%. So we have the 25%, they want to get rid of it. Well, with India, India is, I think, the highest, again, I said it before, but the highest tariff when you deal with India. Harley-Davidson has to pay tremendous tariffs when they send motorcycles in here. When India sends motorcycles into the U.S., there's virtually no tariff. For the most part, there is absolutely no tariff. So I just said that's unfair, and we're working it out. We're working it out. Go ahead.
Good evening, President.
I think we'll win that one easily. We're working on that. Yeah, we're working on that. Yeah.
Good evening, President. This is
It's
Anurag
not a fair
Purita.
situation when one company is paying 100% in the case of numerous companies, not just Harley, but where they're paying tremendous. And actually, tariffs were raised not too long ago. And we also did something. There was a form of rent control that was, if you put it in a different sense, it was given to India, and we terminated that. You know that. we terminated it. No, we're talking. We have great discussions. Look, I can't lose this. I can't lose it. You know what? I'll never lose it. It's too easy, because I want reciprocal. It has to be reciprocal. And the money you're talking about is major, but the United States has to be treated fairly. And India understands that. The relationship is outstanding, but India understands that. We've had a tremendous deficit for many, many years with India, with everybody, you know, with, frankly, so many different countries. We've had a massive, massive deficit, but a large deficit, $30 billion with India. It's now down to $24 billion because of what we've been doing, but still, that's too high. We shouldn't have a $24 billion deficit. With other countries, we have more than that. Japan, we're doing now $40 billion is coming in. A lot of very good deals are being made, and they'll be kicking in toward the end of the year. I would say if the deal happens with India, it will be toward the end of the deal. And if it doesn't happen, we'll do something else. It'll be very satisfactory. It'll be very good. Go ahead. Who else?
President, my question is that you said at the time of the Article 370 abrogation that you would like to mediate in Kashmir, but India rejected it.
No,
my question is something different.
Wait. I didn't say that. I didn't say anything about that. I just said Kashmir, obviously, there's a big problem between Pakistan and India. And I think they're going to work out their problem, but I will say they've been doing it for a long time.
Okay, my question is something different at the moment. What is your position at the moment on India's Citizen Amendment Act at the moment?
I don't want to discuss that. I want to leave that to India, and hopefully they're going to make the right decision for the people. That's really up to India.
President, good evening.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Nilüfer Sahravardi, an Indian journalist, and I have a very simple question. Now, back home, when you reflect upon your tour of India, the first diplomatic visit to the country, how would you describe it? Cultural diplomacy, Trump diplomacy, or do you have any other word for that?
Well, first of all, I describe it as incredible, because when I looked at the various things, like today, when we went, you probably saw where we were, and when you look at all of the things that we've seen today, when we look at yesterday the Taj Mahal and other things, in addition to working in between and even during, where, you know, we worked very long and hard with representatives from India, most particularly with the Prime Minister. I just think it's an incredible country. It's got unbelievable energy. You see that when you come in from the plane. When you see from, I think I can say, virtually from the plane to whatever venue we were going to, it was wall-to-wall people. They've never seen anything like it. Somebody said it was the greatest greeting ever given to any head of state from any country. Now, India has more people than any other country, a little bit more than China,
How
a little
would you
bit tiny.
describe it diplomatically? Is it Trump diplomacy,
I
cultural
think the
diplomacy?
diplomacy is a diplomacy of great friendship and respect. And I think it's going to all work out very well. I really do. I admire your country tremendously. I respect your Prime Minister tremendously. And I think it's really a diplomacy of friendship, and I think it's going to work out very well. Okay? Okay? Go ahead, please. Please, go ahead. Right next to Steve.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you know, the Chinese government recently ejected several Wall Street Journal reporters. What is your administration considering to do in retaliation to that move? Are you considering banning or restricting the access Chinese journalists, for example, have to the United States?
So I haven't really been given a full briefing on that. We're going to look at it. We will look at it. It's something that I don't like to see. I don't think it's fair, because we give very good access. Maybe some people would say we give too good. I don't believe in that. I think we give very good access, so I don't think it's fair. But we'll have a decision made on that relatively soon. Okay? Thank you. Good question. Please, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, you have a policy toward Venezuela. So will you allow Indian companies to continue to buy Venezuelan oil from third parties, especially when you have sanctions?
Well, you'll be seeing something on that in the not-too-distant future. Yeah.
So there could be more stringent sanctions against Venezuela?
There could be very serious sanctions.
Or against the Indian companies continuing
Now,
to buy
what's happening
Venezuela?
in Venezuela is so sad. People are starving. Here's a case where a country was wealthy 15 years ago and very wealthy 20 years ago, very, very wealthy, the wealthiest in all of Latin South America, the wealthiest, and by far, not even a contest. And when you look today, they don't have water, they don't have basic food, they have no medicine. It's incredible what's happened in Venezuela. No, we're watching Venezuela very closely. We don't like it. We don't like it. Not at all. Okay?
The sanctions will be against the Venezuelan entities or the Indian companies who are continuing to buy the Venezuelan oil.
You're going to see in a little while. You're asking a question right in the middle of us doing something. Go ahead, please.
Ali Maqbool from BBC. There were some back home that were hoping you would raise concerns about some of these policies that Prime Minister Modi has introduced that discriminate against Muslims, and also about a rise in hate crimes here in India. But as someone
Well, we did discuss that, and we discussed that, and specifically Muslims, and we also discussed Christians.
But someone
and
who...
I had a very powerful answer from the Prime Minister. We talked about religious liberty for a long period of time in front of a lot of people, and I had a very, very powerful answer. And as far as Muslims are concerned, as he told me, I guess they have 200 million Muslims in India, and a fairly short while ago they had 14 million. And he said that they're working very closely with the Muslim community.
But sir, you yourself have been criticized for policies that have discriminated against Muslims, like the travel ban. There's also been a rise in hate crimes over the last couple of years in the US. So are you in a position to talk to him about those subjects?
Yeah, I won the travel ban, as you probably know. A lot of people said I lost it. No, I won the travel ban, and we use the travel ban where we think there's, not based on religion, but where we think there's going to be trouble, where we're looking at certain countries. As you know, we added a few countries onto it. But we won the travel ban, and we won it in the Supreme Court. So the travel ban is not a thing against Muslims. It's a thing against areas where we don't want people coming into our country that are going to cause problems, cause harm, cause death, hurt our people. And I feel very strongly about that. Okay, please, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm Qin Yixiang with Shanghai Media Group. I'd like to know, some people say that India could be to the U.S. in Asia during the 21st century what the UK was in Europe during the 20th century. How do you view it?
Well, I think that India is going to be a tremendous player over the next, it's now, right? But over the next period of 50 years and 100 years, look, you're talking about the largest population in the world. You're talking about a tremendous country in terms of its heritage, its potential wealth, frankly. Right now, they have incredible potential. Economically, they have great potential. Their schooling system is getting better all the time. They're doing a fantastic job in certain sectors with respect to education. We see it in the United States. We see it. We have a lot of Indian students coming to our schools. They're great students, and they've done fantastically well at our schools. But we have, thousands and thousands of people coming from India coming to our colleges in particular, schools, but our colleges in particular. No, India's got a phenomenal future. I mean, you can rarely think of a place that has a better future than India, and highly respected, especially with leadership like Prime Minister, right? Modi. Yeah. Go ahead. Pick one. Go ahead.
Sir, Ritu Parna from CNBC TV 18 India. American companies have been investing in India for a long, long time. Are you satisfied with the Indian investment regime, especially on issues like multi-brand retail and e-commerce, on which companies from US have a lot of interest in?
So I'm very satisfied because they're investing tremendous amounts of money. I met Mr. Patel a little while ago. He's the largest steel person in the world by far. I don't think there's even a contest. And he's going to be building $1 billion plant in Alabama. We had the press, I left him in there, always a risky thing to do. But if you see let's say we asked, answered 15 questions, they were talking about how much better it is to work in the United States now in terms of their investment. They have done a fantastic job. These are some of the biggest entrepreneurs in the world. I'm not even sure if the media really understood who they were. I knew many of them, certainly heard of all of them. The job they've done is incredible. But Mr. Patel, who's the biggest steel company, certainly the biggest steel individual, but I think he's the biggest steel company by a lot.
He's investing billions of dollars in the United States, and he's only doing it because of what I've done to bring back the steel industry. The steel industry was dead, absolutely dead in the United States, and now it's a vibrant industry. It's incredible, and we need it. Again, we need it for defense. It's not just like certain industries that you don't need. We need it for defense. But he was glowing, and one of the reasons he's spending $1 billion in Alabama and more money in other places in the United States is because we brought it back. So we're very proud of that. So I think what we'll do is we're going to see some of you on the plane on the way back. It's been an honor to be here. It's an incredible place with incredible leadership and an unbelievable future. And I just want to thank you all, and I'll see you back in the States. And I think some of you are on the plane, and we can talk a little bit on the plane too. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much.